just over 90% of the vote counted. In other elections, a clear winner has emerged. The biggest race of interest in northeast Wisconsin was the 8th Congressional District, where Trump-endorsed Republican Tony Weed defeated OBGYN Kristen Lyerly in both races on the ballot. The first race will fill the remaining time left in Congressman Mike Gallagher's term following his resignation. The second race was for the full term starting in 2025. In the 6th Congressional District, Republican incumbent Glenn Grothman won re-election, defeating challenger John Zarbano. Elijah Benke was elected to represent Wisconsin Assembly District 6, a district he currently does not live in. He will have to move to the district before taking office. Democrat Lee Snodgrass will continue to represent Assembly District 52. Meanwhile, Ryan Spouty wins State Assembly District 89, Ahmad Rivera Wagner wins State Assembly District 90, and Senate District 30 goes to Democrat Jamie Wall, who defeated Alloway Village President Jim Rafter. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
The Packers trade Preston Smith. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Preston Smith has been a reliable linebacker on the Packers defense since Matt LaFleur took over as the head coach. But the team traded Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 7th-round pick. The Steelers will also take over his contract, saving the Packers over $17 million next season. GM Brian Gutekunst met with the media.
Thanks to Preston Smith. 2019, that was we signed 4 guys, and for him to be, here still 5.5 years later and play a lot of good football for us, and won a lot of games. And I wish him nothing but the best moving forward.
NBA, the Bucks are back in Milwaukee tomorrow night to host the Utah Jazz. Both teams off to poor starts, each with a win-loss record of 1-6. The Badgers men's basketball team hosting Montana State tomorrow night. Wisconsin with an 85-61 win over Holy Cross. Forward Nolan Winters on all the new players on this year's roster.
With JT, X, we're learning and, practicing every day, open gyms in the summer. That helped a lot.
With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low in the mid-30s. A clearing sky with sunshine returning tomorrow and a little warmer, highs in the mid-50s. And climbing to the upper 50s with sun Friday. Rain chances return for the weekend, mostly cloudy and highs mid-50s. Right now, it's 48.
Civic Media, Wisconsin's source for real news and great conversation, offers podcasts of all of our daily shows online and on demand. Simply go to civicmedia.us, click on daily shows, and choose the podcast that you want to download. Shows are updated daily, or you can save them and listen all at once. Our podcasts are sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. You are an organ donor, right? Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Learn more at heroicdeed.com.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt U.S. Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Todd Albaugh.
Hey, everybody, join us next time as we continue to analyze the election that was and look ahead to the weekend to get our minds off of things. Join us.
The Todd Albaugh Show. Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right.
And now, a guy who likes to talk trash, but only when he's at the dump, Pete Schwaba.
Hey, Wisconsin. Welcome to Night Light. Great to be back here in the studio in Green Bay, talking about the things I love to talk about. I hope everybody had a safe election day, voting day, whatever you want to call it. And the healing, ladies and gentlemen, starts now. It has been a very tumultuous election season. We're a very polarized country. So let's come together. Let's start right here at 606. Conrad did it again. I still think we're on at 7. 606 6:07 now, the healing begins. We're all brothers and sisters, we're all neighbors, and we all love entertainment. So let's take that first step together here tonight on Night Light. I am Pete Schwaba, and it is great to have you with me on this Wednesday night. It feels like a Monday, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know what it felt like is Sunday, and now it's Wednesday. You know,
Yeah.
that's how it felt
Yeah,
to me. It totally felt like Monday and Tuesday just happened super fast.
It was. In Monday's show, my head was spinning. We had so many guests on that night, and then we had our in-studio performer, Eric Jelland, who was great. And then, of course, last night, election coverage. And today, being back in the studio, it is. You're right. It was a very, very hectic 2 days. So it's nice just to do a regular show on the home court here. So how you doing, buddy?
You know, I'm doing great. I watched a YouTube video today, and I saw a Grammarly ad. I was like, yes, that makes me happy.
Why does that make you happy? I mean, I'm glad it exists.
There's no political ads whatsoever.
Oh, nice.
It was great. Never have been so happy.
Them. I'm still getting political text. Take a survey. What did you think? I'm like, oh, dear God, please, no. I'm so done. Yeah. Well, that's good. I've never seen anybody get excited about a Grammarly ad. So.
Yeah, I saw an Oreo ad as well.
And that just made the big fella hungry.
Yeah.
So it is good. It was a crazy day, though. I got here. I left I didn't leave Madison until about, 12:30. And, okay, this is crazy. I was cutting it close getting here tonight. I probably got here at about 5:10, which is fine. If I'm coming from the Marinette area, I know where to go. I know how long it takes me. But I got in my car. I was going to go see my daughter. So I took kind of a roundabout way to get here. And I entered the address in my Maps app, and, like, the directions came up, but it wasn't giving me directions from where I was. Like, first I would enter where I was, and it would say I was a minute from my destination. It was really strange. And I'm like, wait, you're not. So for whatever reason, the map or the app could not read where I was. I went into settings, checked my locations, restarted everything, restarted the phone. It just did not work. So around, like, Wisconsin Rapids, I just didn't know where the hell I was. I had to pull over old school and ask for directions because this is how helpless I am with, like, I used to have an atlas in my car and I would look at it before I went somewhere and I'm like, that's where I'm going. I take 39 to 10 to 41, and I would just know. But I'm like, I had no idea where I was. And the town I was in, the signs were not they just didn't have a lot of signs. So I had to pull over and ask some dude who was taking a smoke break at a Quick Trip. I was like, where am I? I go, how do I get to 10 East? I got to go to Appleton. And he looked it up on his phone. And, the guy was pretty cool, but I went in the store and I double checked it. And some girl, you get these directions from people. First of all, I'm not from there. That's why I'm asking for directions. And this girl, she had this ring in her nose, and she goes, go past the Complex Commons. Like, really? Those are your directions? I go, I need to get to Appleton. Go past the Complex Commons and take a right. Okay. I don't know where that is.
Where the
hell is the Complex Commons? And this guy who was really cool, I should have asked his name. I would have given him a shout out, but he had like one of the reflective vests on. And he said, you know what? I'm going that way. His directions kind of confirmed the other guys. And then, so I thought, all right, I'm good. But he's like, if you wait for me, you can follow me there and I'll get you there. I was like, I think I got it, but thank you. So as I'm leaving, the guy I initially got directions from, who didn't know I asked other people for verification, or he might have been insulted, was with his wife and baby. And he said, you know what, buddy? I'm going that way. Follow me. So I ended up following him. He got me to where I wanted to go. So my faith in humanity is a little restored today. But oh my God, I was lost without my app. I felt like such a numbskull.
You should have map quested.
Does that even exist?
I don't know. Maybe it does still. It used to, yeah.
Because I went to the browser. You can type in directions there, and I went there, and every time I clicked on it, it would take me to the App Store to download Google Maps.
Yeah.
I thought, I can't download a whole... I didn't have great reception to begin with, and I want to sit there for 15 minutes while this app downloads. So I'm like, I'm going old school. I'm going to ask total strangers for directions, and I hope they don't steer me wrong. and they were lovely people. So I did get here in time, but man, I really felt helpless. Like when I was a stand-up, I had an atlas in my car. That's all I needed. Okay, I take I-94, then I get to Minneapolis. Okay, boom. This is different. It's just, you just feel so inept. Maybe that's a question we should do one night. What modern day convenience would you not want to live without?
Yeah, that would definitely be a good one.
And I totally could live without it. You just got to be prepared. You have to have a little map in your car, and it's a piece of cake. So that was my day. So I'm glad to be here, sitting in this familiar seat that I share with Jim Schmidt from time to time. We don't ever sit in the chair together. I want to make that clear.
Well,
a couple times at parties. But no, it's good to be here. And what did you think of Madison? Did you like being down there?
Yeah, that was my first time, being
yeah.
at the studio. It was a really cool place.
The mothership.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's a very good space. Good people. Civic Media is wonderful. So here, this is funny. Okay, I read this today when I was doing the Hollywood Beats. This is great. Michael Jackson supposedly kicked Tupac Shakur's butt. So Tupac is like this street cred rapper who is no longer with us. He was murdered in a drive-by, I believe, in Vegas with Biggie Smalls. You up on the rap thing, Conrad?
I don't know who did it.
Well, I know I'm not asking you to come clean. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
But
it was Biggie Smalls.
They're both in the car. Biggie got shot but not killed, correct?
Yeah,
And Tupac was killed.
Some people say that it was Biggie who did it.
Who set him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Brilliant.
got shot himself.
Yeah. Well, take one. That gives you street cred if you're willing to take a bullet. But it's a terrible thing. I don't know much about Tupac. Didn't know much about his music. I'm kind of barely into rap now. If I hear something I like, I'll listen to it. But I didn't know much about Tupac. Anyway, I knew he was like this, big time street cred rapper. But Michael Jackson he was with him and Khadijah Jones, Quincy Jones's daughter, who he dated. And Michael Jackson heard Tupac call Khadijah the B word. So Michael Jackson, who looked at Khadijah Jones like a niece, because he was very close to Quincy Jones, has words with Tupac. The two of them end up throwing down. And Michael Jackson got the best of Tupac.
Good for him.
Yeah. And there were witnesses. And this guy, I got to look up his name again, but he was telling the story. And he said, and people might not believe that because Mike is about 70 pounds and he doesn't look like a fighter and he's got that high voice. But he said he grew up with 6 brothers. And he goes, your brothers, that's how you learn to fight. So apparently he got the best of Tupac, which probably did not sit well with Tupac, I would imagine. But good for Michael Jackson for whatever. I don't want to praise him too much. I don't know what his deal is, but he's obviously he was a very troubled individual. But sticking up for Khadijah Jones, that was cool. And that surprised me. I did not see that coming. So there you go. And then I want to talk about, I think I mentioned this the other night. Well, let's do the question first.
Yep.
Okay, so this is kind of cool. Nicolas Cage is getting his own film festival, and it's about damn time. The guy has made, I don't even know how many movies, but he's getting his own film festival, and I'll have, in my Hollywood Beats, I will address that further. But it got me thinking, the guy's gotten enough movies made with him as an actor, producer, whatever, that's our question tonight. What is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? It's that simple. So simple, folks. We've all got one. He's made a lot of clunkers, too. Like Nicolas Cage has made some terrible films. He was in films during that phase of Netflix where it was like they shot everything in Louisiana because they had great incentives there for filmmakers. So everything was shot there. So there was about a 3-year period where he made like 10 films and they all had that bayou, sweaty look to the film. And they were just kind of like, But he's a great actor. So let you go first, Conrad. What's your favorite Nicolas Cage film? Then we'll open it up.
National Treasure.
Yeah.
And the second one.
What is he? What is that again? National Treasure he's a treasure hunter, right? Or something like that, like Indiana Jones?
Yeah, kind of like Indiana Jones. He's looking for stuff, that come back to me. I get.
Yeah, you take your time. Google it, and then I'll come back.
Yes. I just know it's one of my favorite movies from my childhood.
I have 3. I know that's kind of cheating. But you guys are welcome to share more than one. I have 3. One, going way back to the 80s, 1985, is a film called Birdie that he was in with Matthew Modine. A coming-of-age film, 2 friends. I think they lived in Philadelphia. I've not seen it in 30 years. But there's some great dialogue, and they have this really quirky friendship. And Nicolas Cage was still, it might have been like his 3rd or 4th film. But he was really good. It's before he got Nicolas Cagey. He was just an actor, and he's really good in it. The other one I liked him in a lot was Valley Girl, which is kind of the opposite. He's a little over the top and crazy. Technically, he was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High as well. He played one of the short order cooks at All American Burger, and there's a shot of him looking up at the camera and looking down. He doesn't even have a line. But I think my all-time favorite is the most recent, The Unbearable...
Yes.
What is that? The Unbearable
Weight of
massive talent.
Yes.
Because the guy can laugh at himself. And that's why he's so endearing, I think. He's a good actor. He's a little weird. He says really crazy, weird stuff in interviews, which I actually like. I like people who you don't know what they're going to say. But anyway, that's our question tonight. What is your favorite Nicolas Cage film? 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. The election is over, folks. Let's bond and let's do it here tonight on Night Light with Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Don't hurt me no more.
Listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
The Todd Allball Show.
Brady joining us live via phone.
I tell the guys before every game, and honestly try to do it before every practice, challenge is going to come. This team is not just going to show up and allow us to walk all over them and win. Really what matters is how are we going to respond to that. And if you can adapt and use it as a learning opportunity, it's going to set you up to go accomplish darn near anything you want to.
I think there are a lot of people that need to hear that message today.
The Todd Allball Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting.
You've seen her dressed in blue. See the sky in front of you. And her face is like a sail, white so fair and pale. Have you seen her?
This is great. Tori from Kiwani says, sounds like you were using Mino in the mayor directions.
Yeah, that's very true.
What was that story? Where were they going and they got lost? They were almost to Milwaukee?
Yeah, they were going to the Oshkosh studio at WISS, and, well, they missed the exit by about 40 minutes.
When I would drive to a gig with another comic, like in the 90s, we would start yakking away and drive 30 miles past an exit. It was awful. And it's like, oh, man. So I've totally been there, but Tori must have heard them talking about that on the air. Great text, Tori. Carl from Green Bay. This is like some serious inside baseball. Carl from Green Bay says Pac couldn't kick Mike's ass because he didn't want to lose access to MJ's samples. Now, I'm going to take your word for it, Carl, because I don't know Tupac's music. But I kind of have an issue with sampling anyway, because I feel like write your own stuff. That's already been done. And I like some songs that do it. I just think it's a cop-out. So I'm with you, Carl. That's hilarious. Great text. And then Craig Kinnett says, Coen Brothers, Raising Arizona is amazing. It's always a favorite. That's in relation to our question, what is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? That is tonight's Nightlight question of the night. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Craig says, Raising Arizona. And that is excellent. The Coen Brothers, there's a great scene in that film where he has a crush on Holly Hunter. And Nicolas Cage is kind of a screw-up. He's been arrested a few times. And the cop, the local cop, is Holly Hunter. And she's taking a guy's mugshot. And the guy's standing there getting his mugshot taken. And Nicolas Cage enters the frame. And he says, I don't remember what the woman's name is. I'd sure love it if you go out with me sometime. Then he looks at his buddy and goes, howdy, Kurt. So Raising Arizona. Also, John Goodman. Great cast. And it was Patricia Arquette, I think, is the female lead in that movie. That's a great one, Craig. Thank you for sharing. What is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? There's a lot of good ones, a lot of bad ones. Mine is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which came out in 2022, with Pedro Pascal. Very funny movie. The K-Man says National Treasure. I also like a film called Birdie. Check it out. It's from the 80s, one of his first. Really good stuff. So,
what do you think of Con Air?
Just whatever. Next. It's just stupid. And, escapism for sure, but I've seen better escapism. It was so preposterous.
Yeah, I kind of got those. I really go into a Nick Cage film just knowing his acting style. I'm like, I'll probably like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you come out of it like, what did I watch?
He's great and everything, but I don't think a great actor can make a bad script a good movie. No matter how good of an actor you are, no matter how good of a director you are, if you're a great director, you can put some bells and whistles on it and make some cool cuts or add some cool music or transitions, whatever, but you're not making a bad script a good movie. And it's the same with an actor. So I'll always like Nicolas Cage. But yeah, he's not enough. You got to have a good script. I'm just looking through his movies here, too. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. God, I remember that one.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
Yes.
No way.
It's a Disney movie.
Yeah, from 2010. He was the executive producer and played Balthazar. I don't even remember him in that movie, but I remember the movie for some reason.
I watched it like 2 years ago because I was like, that's interesting how I've never heard of this movie before.
Crazy. But he was in Leaving Las Vegas, too, and I think he won an Oscar. I know he was nominated, but I think he won an Oscar for that. So, all right. Hey, let's do a clip. We got some. Did we have a Napoleon Dynamite clip the other night from when John Grise was on?
No, we did not.
I know we didn't play one, but don't we have one in the... we should always keep one around. That's one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
It is Ethan Hawke's birthday, so why don't we do an Ethan Hawke clip? What do you think we'd have time for of the clips we have?
Yeah, we could do the Dead Poets Society.
Dead Poets Society. All right, great movie. Robin Williams, and this is Ethan Hawke forgetting to do his homework?
Yeah, and then he has to go up to the board and do a poem kind of thing. And it's just, it's one of the best scenes for the movie.
Awesome. Let's roll it.
Mr. Anderson, so you're sitting there in agony. Come on, Todd, step up. Let's put you out of your misery.
I didn't do it. I didn't write a poem.
Mr. Anderson thinks that everything inside of him is worthless and embarrassing. Isn't that right, Todd? And that's your worst fear. Well, I think you're wrong. I think you have something inside of you that is worth a great deal. I sound my barbaric yelp. Now, for those of you who don't know, a yelp is a loud cry or yell. Now, Todd, I would like you to give us a demonstration of a barbaric yelp. Come on, you can't yelp sitting down. Let's go. Come on, up. Gotta get in yelping stance.
A yelp.
No, not just a yelp. A barbaric yelp.
Yelp.
Come on, louder.
Yo.
Oh, that's a mouse. Come on, louder.
Yo.
Oh, good God, boy, yell like
that. There it is.
You see? You have a barbarian in you after all. Now, you don't get away that easy. Picture of Uncle Walt up there. What does he remind you of? Don't think. Answer. Go on.
A madman.
What kind of madman? Well, think about it. Just answer again.
A crazy madman.
Oh, you can do better than that. Free up your mind. Use your imagination. Say the first thing that pops into your head, even if it's total gibberish. Go on. Go on.
A sweaty tooth madman.
Good God, boy. There's a poet in you after all. There. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close them. Now, describe what you see.
I close my eyes.
Yes?
And this image floats beside me.
Sweaty tooth madman.
The sweaty tooth madman with a stare that pounds my brain.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, give him action. Make him do something.
His hands reach out and choke me.
That's good. Wonderful, wonderful.
And all the time he's mumbling.
What's he mumbling?
Mumbling truth.
Yeah.
Truth like a blanket that always leaves your feet cold.
Forget them. Stay with the blanket. Tell me about that blanket.
You push it, stretch it, it'll never be enough. You kick at it, beat it, it'll never cover any of us. From the moment we enter crying to the moment we leave dying, it'll just cover your face as you wail and cry and scream.
Don't you forget this.
Love that line at the end. You see that movie, and it's all. I had some really good teachers in my day, but you see that movie, and it's like you just want Robin Williams to be your teacher. It's not fair. It's like you got this Oscar-winning actor as your teacher. There's another great text here I want to get to before the break. Our question tonight is, what is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? Mike Mercury is coming up next, folks. He's a Madison-based comedian. We'll talk to Mike. He's great. Can't wait to talk to him. Then Civic Media's own sports director, Jimmy Kuska, is here at 7:20. We'll talk to Jim. Anna says, hi, Pete and Conrad. My favorite Nicolas Cage movie was Moonstruck with Cher. Also, Tupac Shakur was good in a movie with Janet Jackson, Poetic Justice, directed by John Singleton. Yes, Anna. Singleton also directed Boys in the Hood, which was great. And Moonstruck. I forgot about Moonstruck. Great movie. Oscar nominated. And did Cher win one for that? I don't know. All right, we'll discuss all of it. We got a lot of show to get to, folks. Great to have you with me on this Wednesday night. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight Mike Mercury coming up next on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Yes, you're jumping on a fast train.
Of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Matt and Air on Air.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Wisconsin voters approved a constitutional amendment that will keep foreign nationals from voting in the state. Republicans across the country have been pushing constitutional amendments designed to prohibit non-citizens from voting in local elections. Currently, the amendment reads, every U.S. citizen who is 18 or older can vote. The amendment revises that language to read, only U.S. citizens can vote in elections held in Wisconsin. Outside entities tried to make voting day in the United States a bit more chaotic. Stuart J. Waddles reports.
Wisconsin was among several battleground states targeted by bomb threats on Election Day. That's according to the FBI. The threats, which appeared to originate from Russian email accounts, also impacted Pennsylvania and other states. Despite the threats, the Wisconsin Elections Commission declared them not to be credible, and all polling places in the state did remain open.
Voters in many parts of Wisconsin were deciding on more than who will represent them. With more, here's Civic Media's Jimmy Kuska.
All across Wisconsin, school referendum questions were on the ballot, with over 1/4 of districts asking to go over their local tax levies. Over 1/4 of districts asked a total of 138 questions for a total of over $4.2 billion to pay for operations and facilities. The majority of these ballot measures passed, highlighted by Madison passing 2 questions for a total of $607 million. State Superintendent Jill Underly said that too many communities were forced to ask for more local property tax dollars to simply pay the bills, and that the state legislature has underfunded public education in Wisconsin for too long. Underly said that the next biennial budget is another opportunity for Wisconsin legislators to properly fund school districts. Both the 120 districts going to referendum and the 138 questions asked on ballots are records. For Civic Media News, I'm Jimmy Kuska.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Martha Stewart might be dealing with a hangover due to her displeasure with her biopic Martha on Netflix. While promoting her new cookbook during an appearance on a game show similar to Family Feud, she took a shot at Ryan Reynolds. When asked which actors she would like to hang out with in real life, she listed George Clooney, her pal Snoop Dogg, and Brad Pitt, but made a point to say Ryan Reynolds is not funny in real life, adding that he is very serious. She also acknowledged her comments might not go over so well since the two are neighbors in real life. Despite the final season of Succession bringing Kieran Culkin his first Golden Globe Award, the actor has still not seen the series finale. In a recent appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Culkin said he missed it because he was in Poland filming a movie and then went right to a vacation with his family. The actor told Colbert he knows what happens, but just sort of missed his chance. If only there was a way he could still watch it. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is your hometown radio, refreshed, keeping you informed, entertained, and connected locally across the Civic Media Network.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low in the mid-30s. A clearing sky with sunshine returning tomorrow and a little warmer, highs in the mid-50s. And climbing to the upper 50s with sun Friday. Rain chances return for the weekend, mostly cloudy and highs mid-50s. Right now, it's 48.
Max Inc. on Civic Media with Mike and Wendy from Sunspot. Can you imagine the mosh pit on the bridge that could happen?
Oh, well, that's how the original series was when they moved the camera. Whenever it's the red alert, right?
Yeah,
that was the mosh pit.
Yeah, and everybody had to fake
right. Lean left, lean right. Yeah.
Join us for all the fun with Max Inc. on Saturday nights, 6 to midnight, across the Civic Media Radio Network and on the Civic Media app.
The Dom Salvia Show.
Jeannie from Eau Claire.
I am thankful for Civic Media, the on-air talent, the technicians, the producers, the news staff, and especially Mr. Sage Wild. It's a very, very sad, shocking day for me, but I still have hope because I have hope in you guys. Keep up the great work.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jeannie. You give us hope. Appreciate you listening.
The Dom Salvia Show. Weekdays from 4 till 6 on the Civic Media Radio Network and on the Civic Media app.
On the next New Wisco weekend, we're honoring veterans for their service. I'm Lisa Hay.
Anna, by the way, says Pete Cher did win an Oscar for Moonstruck. I thought so. Thank you, Anna, for clarifying that. Jameson from Pennsylvania says, When Peggy Sue Got Married is a Nick Cage classic. Very fun, but I know it's not for everyone. You know, I know what you mean by that, Jameson, but I think I agree with you. I think it's a great film, and my wife loves that movie. She especially likes the scene where Kathleen Turner sees her mom for the first time, because I think there's a flashback, if I remember correctly. And, very sweet film. And Jameson continues, however, his experience in Kick-Ass is very worthy of a mention. I don't know Kick-Ass.
Yes. He plays,
I know how to kick ass. Don't get me wrong.
It's a superhero movie, but it's not a natural superhero movie. It's all about regular civilians becoming superheroes. And he plays a dad of one of them.
Well, that sounds fun.
It's a great movie. It's
sounds
hilarious.
Fun. It actually sounds like a great movie for Nicolas Cage. So, all right, Jimmy Kuska is going to join us at 7:20 to talk about the movies his kids are watching. I always love that talk with Jimmy. And we'll talk sports, too. The Packers have a bye this weekend?
Yes, they do.
And the Badgers, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get an update from Jimmy. We'll see where he thinks the teams are. And maybe we can ask our next guest that, too. He is one of my Wisconsin faves, one of my faves in general. He is a Madison-based stand-up comic and writer. You could check out his Substack at Mike Mercury. Substack it. Google it. Don't Substack it. Google it. Once you get there, then Substack it. But Mike joins us now on the stream. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm here. Hello, Pete. Conrad's mom. How was everybody?
We have not heard from Conrad's mom yet tonight.
Uh-oh.
So
that's trouble.
Hopefully we'll get an appearance since you gave her a shout out, Mike. That was very, very sporting of you.
Should we send out a search party?
I don't. Are we at search party level yet, Conrad? No, you're not worried about her. Okay. Mike's concerned, though. That's very sweet, I think.
Yeah. I want you to notice, if you're watching at home, I have my new Green Bay Packers sideline hat on. I just got that.
Out.
Yeah.
What's the story there?
It's a crucial catch campaign. I don't know what that means. I just like the hat. Unfortunately, they sold out, I guess. I ended up having to buy a hat from like the NFL Europe and spend $10 to ship it here. It was ridiculous.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Well, it looks good on you, man. It matches your shirt. You got a little color in there, like a little rainbow action happening around the G, some plaid.
Right.
I'm digging it, man. Hey, while we're on the subject, Mike, you're a big Packer fan.
Well, I'm a Packers fan for sure. I always say, Pete, by the way, I always say Packers plural. I'm a Packers fan. I'm a fan of the entire team, not just one Packer.
I apologize.
Yeah, let's get it straight.
Please accept my apology. I know you like multiple Packers. I didn't know you liked all of them, so thank you.
Yeah, I like all of them. Well,
you should like that backup quarterback they have. He's got like a perfect passer rating on a small scale.
Yeah, it's good. I just read this just a few hours ago that Jordan Love might be out for several weeks.
What?
Yeah, I just saw that an hour ago or so, that he had an MCL injury or something that happened at the end of the game, or I don't know.
Oh, wow. You think he re-injured the same that was an MCL he had before, right, Conrad?
It was a that was
he had a groin injury is what he had.
But he had an MCL like in the first game of the season or something.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just saw that. I don't know if it's true or not, but anyway, yeah. So we might see more of his backup, Malik. Is it Willis?
Yeah, he's crushing it, man. The kid from Liberty. University. Jerry Falwell scouted him himself.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So what do you think of the Packers' chances right now? Our teams are both in the NFC North. My Bears aren't going anywhere. Tell me where the Packers are going.
Until I saw the Lions game, I thought they had a reasonable shot at making a run, but now I'm not so sure because they were pretty bad.
The Lions are a force, and now they signed the guy who used to be in the Packers. What's his name? The pass rusher.
Yeah, Smith.
Za'Darius.
Preston.
Oh, yeah, Za'Darius.
Yeah, Za'Darius.
Yeah. So they did that. I think their last 2 or 3 games were without Aiden Hutchinson, and they still crushed. And now they've got. I mean, they're a force. And any other year, I would say, well, or if they were in a different division, I would say the Packers are probably headed to the playoffs, and maybe they still will. But Minnesota's pretty good. I mean, the North is just the best division of football right now.
I would say so, yeah.
All right. I just had to get that off my chest.
No, it's good. But they're off this weekend. The Badgers are off. What are you going to do, Pete?
I don't know, because I got to be honest. This year, I usually have a Saturday planned, and then I always forget, oh, yeah, the Badgers are on 11. I'll take a lunch break around 11, and I'll watch like a half, and then I'll go out and work for 20 minutes and come back in and watch the game. But to be honest, I'm so bummed out with the Badgers because they are truly my college team, and I just I'm not saying it's the coach, but I thought they would be a little farther along this year under the new regime than they are. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly the impression that they gave that they should, and plus the expectations. I think it's just so different now when you're paying people the kind of money they make. But I think one of the things is the name, image, likeness thing was threw a wrench into the whole thing, and they were not prepared for that. So I mean, he's fickle. He's safe for this year, and then next year they're going to have to make a serious run, or he's done. I don't see it any other way. But I don't know. They should be more competitive than they are. That's what I think. But who knows?
It's really frustrating to me that they can't seem to find a quarterback, whether it's injury, and there's injury this year, I know, but what's the backup's name? Blake? I'm spacing on his name. But, Penn State's backup quarterback comes in 2 weeks ago and looks like an all-pro. And I'm like, why couldn't the Badgers have recruited that guy? He's a backup.
Right.
I don't know. I don't get it. All right, let's move on. Mike, what are your thoughts on daylight savings?
Wait, hold on. Hold on?
Yeah.
First, I just wanted to mention, Pete. You know I'm a fan of the show, and was it yesterday you had John Legend on?
2 days ago, yeah.
2 days ago, John Legend.
Yeah.
That's what they call a get in the business. That's huge, John Legend. So congratulations on that. That can't go unmentioned. I ran into him a couple weeks ago, and we were chatting, and he said, "Do you know this Pete Schwaba?" And I said, "Yeah, John, it'll be fine. So go on the show and do your business, and then get on with your life." But I think it went well, and it was great to hear that you had him on.
Thanks for the good words. I do appreciate that. He was a great guest, and very engaging to talk to. Very great energy. I actually really liked talking to him. That same show. I don't know if you know the comedian Mike Rowe, but he's a big-time TV writer too, and he's great. And he was like, I was thrilled to have Mike on the show, and then all of a sudden I see, and you should take note of this, Napoleon Dynamite. Have you seen the film?
I have. My wife and son just watched it over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
For some reason. I don't know. It's such a, when I remember when it first came out and I was watching it, I was like, this is so weird. And I thought it was just really so strange. But the longer I watched, the funnier it got to me. So yeah, I've seen it.
So weird. We had, there's a big event in Madison this Saturday night at the Barrymore. I don't know how close you live to the Barrymore, but it's Napoleon Dynamite Live. Napoleon will be there, John Heider, Ephraim Ramirez, who played Pedro, and John Grise, who played Uncle Rico. He was on the show Monday night as well, and I feel like I had such great guests, I had to rush through all of them. That kind of sucked, but we'll have John on again. But he was talking about how he got the part of Uncle Rico, and he had, they were out to Walton Goggins and God, who was the other guy? There was another big name they had on for Uncle Rico. But anyway, he said he had to audition for. He was a really cool guy. So it makes me want to watch it again. And if I were in Madison, that's where I would be Saturday night. It's a live showing, and then they're going to have a meet and greet with the cast, and it sounds like a really fun night.
So how long ago did that movie come out? Was it like 15 years, 10, 12?
20. It's a 20th anniversary.
Oh, geez. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah, so he, the actor that played, what was it, Rico? Uncle
Rico, yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Rico. He was in Madison earlier this summer at a Mallards baseball game.
Really?
Yeah. So it's it's like those Comic-Con things. I mean, I think it's pretty great that he can go around and make personal appearances still, and make some walking around money from a movie that came out 20 years ago. But yeah, he was at a Mallards game.
Wonder what the connection is there. He's a California kid. I think he was born and raised. I think his folks were in the business.
It was really random. We just happened to be going to that baseball game, and he was there. It was his night, and he was signing pictures and whatever. And I was like, there was no connection that I'm aware of. It just, he was open on a Tuesday night and they needed something, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what
awesome.
It was.
He was a great guy. My guest is Mike Mercury. He's a Madison-based stand-up comic and writer. Check out his work at Mike Mercury at Substack. Here's what happened, Mike. I started reading. You had 2 articles on there I could read, and then I realized I hadn't signed up yet. So the next
come on, Pete.
I know. The next 2 articles I started right before the show, and I had to. Then I signed up, of course. So the next time you're on the show, I'll be more well versed. But
yeah, I thought I had changed it. I think you can get 4 free or something. Actually, no. What am I saying? They're all free. You just have to register, or maybe you have to subscribe. I'm not sure how all that works. But yeah, you just put in I have an email account that I use specifically for junk email. So sign up with that. If you like me, sign up with that email address, and then you can look at it or not when it comes in. So I don't know, which ones did you see?
Well, I love your stuff. Can you talk about, this is the one I didn't get to read, but I love the title, Football Rock and Roll Pumpkins.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't even remember what it was.
Oh, great. I'm glad I
Yeah.
asked you about.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that one up.
You don't remember that
Hold
the
on,
article?
I don't remember it, but it was. It sounds entertaining to me,
It
Pete.
sounds a great title, Mike. And you're looking it up right now. I love that. You probably
I
have to
got
sign
it.
into your own Substack page.
No, I got it. I got it right
okay.
here. Let's see. Oh, it was about Rocktober. Twofers, double shot. Oh, this is right up your alley. This is all about. Yeah.
Lay it on me, Stretch.
I literally don't remember. Pete, I don't know if you've ever tried to. I don't know if you've ever tried to write a weekly column, but it's like, I don't know what it's like. You write one and then you got to move on. So I have no recollection of what it was even about.
Well, that's fair. We have to do a break in about a minute anyway. So you want to tell us? I know you're taking some time off, but do you have a date coming up in December you want to talk about?
I have a few shows, indeed. Nothing nearby, I don't think, though. Actually, I'm in Wisconsin on New Year's Eve. I'm in Marshfield, Wisconsin.
Oh, sweet.
They have the Marshfield Clinic there. So we're going to have, if you have a heart attack during the show, you'll be in good hands. So
there will be a doctor in the house.
There will be a doctor and EMTs and nurses, because that's all they do there. That's at the Marshfield Hotel, I think. And then December 21st, I'm in Duluth, Minnesota at this place called Dublin's Irish Pub. Those are the only public shows I have coming up, I think. So, but Duluth in December, come on, are you kidding me?
Who's not road tripping there from southern Wisconsin?
Yeah, that's pretty good if it's open. I mean, usually. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's pick it up there after the break, and then I'll read you what Conrad's mom wrote. This is Night Light with Schwaba. Mike Mercury's here on a Wednesday night. What could be better? It's the Civic Media Radio Network.
I reach out from the inside. In your eyes, the light, the heat. I am complete. See the doorway.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW. The Todd Alba Show.
Managing editor of eBaum's World, Mr. Peter Rapine.
Google this week released a new product, the new AI overview. If you Google search, can I use gasoline to cook spaghetti? Google says, no, you can't use it to cook spaghetti, but you can use gasoline to make spicy spaghetti dishes.
Not recommended. Do not do that.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Matt Nair on air. This shouldn't be a thing.
Woman pleads guilty to trying to smuggle 29 turtles across a lake in Vermont into Canada by kayak so they could eventually be sold in Hong Kong.
So they could vote illegally in November.
Stop box turtles from voting. She's facing 10 years in prison.
Matt Nair on air. Weekdays 10 till noon on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
We've all felt left out. And for people who move to this country, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Fear you may be missing out? We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. Enjoy listening live or catch up by finding the podcast.
Nebraska is on his way. He is literally on his way to the show. That means he's setting up StreamYard in his home office in Southwest Wisconsin. He'll be here at 7:20. We'll talk sports and kids movies with Jim. Right now, my guest is Mike Mercury. He's a Madison-based stand-up comedian and writer. Check out his work at Mike Mercury's Substack. All you got to do is Google it, folks. And you can read, what is it, 4 articles for free, Mike? I must have burned
No, they're all free. You can get
they're all
anything.
free, right.
Here's what I did. I'll tell you real quickly. Here's my business model, Pete. I set it up for free, but you have to subscribe, I think, to get them.
Okay.
It's for free, but then after you read a couple, then you get a prompt that says, "Hey, do you want to spend money to do this?" And the promise is you get absolutely nothing more than what you're already getting for free. You're just helping out a guy on the internet. And I think that's a pretty reasonable thing.
That is a hell of a sales pitch.
Yeah, I know, right? And so I have a surprising number of paid subscribers.
Oh, that's
just
awesome.
People out of the kindness of their hearts, Pete. There's no other reason to do it. They just go, okay, fine, we'll pay you some money. In fact, I wrote a column this week, and I heard from a lady about 2 hours after it came out. She said it made me laugh. Here's $50. That's what it costs for the 1 year subscription is $50. She said they always make me chuckle or laugh. Here's $50, and I was tickled pink.
That's a great price for a chuckle or a laugh. If she were to guffaw or chortle, it might have been a C note, Mike. She might have sent you.
Maybe that'll be
That's
how
fantastic.
I'll upgrade it. Yeah, if you want chortles, that's $100.
This is okay. Mike was nice enough to ask about Conrad's mom earlier, how she's doing. We have not. We hear from Paula. I would say, what, Conrad, a couple times a week?
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah.
She says, "Thanks for asking about me. I agree with Conrad about National Treasure and the second National Treasure." So that was nice. You prompted her out of her text funk that doesn't really exist. Thank you, Paula. Mike, so you said you're the Marshfield Hotel doing a show for the Marshfield Clinic. Is that an open show? The 31st?
It's not for the clinic. It's open to the public. New Year's Eve. It's just New Year's Eve party. Woohoo! Come on out. Drink till you can't, and then we'll go home the next day. Yeah, you stay over. Whatever. Big party. And
Love
Duluth, December 21st. Duluth is it's kind of a weird place, but it's an interesting place. Some people literally, I've heard this, they call it the San Francisco of Minnesota or something like that. And I think what they're comparing to is the hills.
Yeah.
Because there's literally nothing else other than there's some water there, but that's where the similarities end.
Oh, it's beautiful. I did stand up there back in the day, and it's pain getting there, but it's cool
it's great
place. Energy, and it's if it was warmer there'd be 2 million people living there, I think.
That's right, and they might be living there anyway because these hurricanes that are happening and all this other stuff. I have read some stuff that says Duluth is an up and coming real estate market because of people fleeing some of these coastal areas where there's trouble. Nothing but trouble.
Yeah.
By the way, Pete, can I jump in on the Nicolas Cage movie thing?
I was going to ask you anyway. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if this came up. I missed the early part of the show, but and this is a bit of trivia. One of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes. I did I made a brief mention,
You
but
did.
finish your thought. I did.
Well, yeah, he had a real bit part in it, and he was credited as Nicholas Coppola.
Coppola, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think the next film after that, he became Nicolas Cage. So it's not truly a Nick Cage movie, but it was a good movie, and he had
his name. His name was not above the title. It was not a Nicolas Cage vehicle. But he didn't have a line though, right? Am I wrong about that? He just kind of looked up.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I looked it up earlier, and I couldn't see that he had a speaking role. I think he was just basically a glorified extra.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he was one of the short order cooks at All American Burger, where Judge Reinhold worked.
Yeah. But that was a great
So
movie.
great.
For a legitimate Nicolas Cage movie, I definitely like the National Treasure movies, and I know that's maybe not the popular choice. Although I liked Raising Arizona a lot.
Yes, somebody mentioned that one too. That's a
I
great
like
movie.
I like the National Treasures. I don't know, they're entertaining, and he was good. They were all good, I thought.
Did you ever see a movie called Birdie? Like in the 1980s with Matthew Modine and Nicolas Cage?
I did. Now
Yeah.
that you've mentioned, I don't remember it, but golly, I for sure saw it. I don't really remember it.
It's good. It's worth a revisit. I think. I watched it probably, I watched it like 40 years ago. Then I watched it again 20 years ago, and it held up at that point. I don't know if it would hold up now, but it's a nice movie.
Yeah.
And what about The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent? Did you see that, Mike?
Gosh, I'm sure I did.
2 years ago.
My memory is just not good. So part of it is the way we consume stuff, I think. We consume massive quantities of stuff now, not like it was, when we were kids, basically. So, and then when you stream stuff, like for instance, I just watched season 2 of Shrinking. Have you seen any Shrinking?
Oh, Conrad's in heaven. I have not.
I'll give you a real quick summary
Mike,
of it.
Can you hang for just through the news? We could pick up there when we come back for a few more. All right. Mike's going to stick around for a few minutes. We'll do some civic media news here. It's award-winning news, so you don't want to miss that. It's coming up right now, and then we'll have more with Mike and Jimmy Kuska talking sports at 7:20. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network. Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Dom Salvia.
Next time, what comes next? Former U.S. Attorney James Santel will join me. We'll talk about the fraud sentencing, the J6 trial, the Georgia case, plus the documents case. Tune in.
The Dom Salvia Show, weekdays 4 till 6.
From the Lake Shore to Lake Winnebago.
Door to Fond du Lac counties.
Northeast Wisconsin is special for many different reasons. I'm Lisa Hale.
And I'm Terry Barr. Family and fun.
Safe communities and friends. We're featuring all of it as part of New Wisco Weekend, a news magazine show just for you, and highlighting what makes the Fox Valley and Green Bay area a great place to live. Join us.
New Wisco Weekend, Saturday mornings at 8, Sundays at 11 on WGBW and WISS and the Civic Media app. You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram. You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW 1590 AM Denmark, W250CV Green Bay, and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
This is a special report from ABC News, Your Voice, Your Vote. I'm Dave Packer, conceding defeat. Vice President Kamala Harris striking an optimistic tone.
Let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service.
Speaking this afternoon at Howard University, where she watched the election returns last night. In his victory speech, President-elect Trump recognizing what's being called the greatest political comeback in U.S. history.
It's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this.
At 78 years old, Trump, the oldest candidate elected to office, and now only the second president to ever win 2 non-consecutive terms. This is ABC News.
Hi, this is Jim Schmidt, your former mayor of Green Bay. You know, I've always cared about local issues. I still do. Join me on my new show, Lean Local, here on WGBW. I'll interview community leaders and elected officials, discuss the economy and development projects, and we'll talk about the future of education here in Greater Green Bay. As they say, all politics is local. So join me for Lean Local, Sunday at 1 p.m. on the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 WGBW.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Outside of the borders of northeast Wisconsin, where we've been focused on Congressional District 8, Congressional District 3, covering what's known as the Driftless area in southwest and western Wisconsin, has gotten a lot of attention statewide. Civic Media's James Kelly updates us on that race.
With Election Day in the rearview mirror, residents of Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District have voted to keep Congressman Derek Van Orden in office. The race for the 3rd Congressional District was by far the closest race of any Wisconsin district, with Van Orden earning about 51.5% of the vote over Democratic challenger Rebecca Cook's 48.5%. In total, over 400,000 votes were cast in the election, with Van Orden winning every county in the district except Eau Claire, La Crosse, and Portage. Van Orden's win was nearly identical to his win in 2022, with about 80,000 more voters casting ballots. His campaign mainly focused on inflation and immigration, issues that were widely considered as two of the top concerns for voters across the country. Rebecca Cook's campaign emphasized similar economic issues, as well as expanding access to health care and targeting corporate price gouging. Cook also placed a heavy emphasis on connecting with voters in their home communities and energizing college students to get themselves and their friends to the polls. Because the margin of victory was so tight, the race was not called until late Wednesday morning. It was the last congressional race in the state to be called, with no other races finishing with a single-digit difference. In the 2022 election, Van Orden flipped the district to Republican control for the first time since the 1996 election. Former Congressman Ron Kind had held the seat for the Democratic Party from 1997 until he retired in 2023.
The Badgers prepare for Montana. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. College basketball, the Badgers men's team hosts Montana State tomorrow night. Head coach Greg Gard on all the new faces on his bench this year.
You look across college basketball, I'm watching a little bit of Purdue. I think we all go through it, probably even more so in today's world, just because of the transient nature of everybody's roster that you're learning on the fly.
Last night at the Kohl Center, the Badgers women's team with a 95-68 win over Wright State. Sarah Williams with 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 block shots. NFL, the Packers trading linebacker Preston Smith to the Steelers for a 7th-round pick. The move also saves Green Bay, paying Smith $17 million next year. Xavier McKinney on losing games to the Vikings and now the Lions at Lambeau Field so far this season.
You know, we put ourselves in a hole, being 0-2 in the division. You know, luckily we play the Lions again, we play the Vikings again. But we got to take care of our business next time we play these teams.
That's Packers safety Xavier McKinney. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news in depth. Find it in the news section at WGBW.FM.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low in the mid-30s. A clearing sky with sunshine returning tomorrow and a little warmer, highs in the mid-50s. And climbing to the upper 50s with sun Friday. Rain chances return for the weekend, mostly cloudy and highs mid-50s. It's 46 right now.
The Todd Alba Show.
Brady joining us live via phone.
I tell the guys before every game, and honestly try to do it before every practice, challenge is going to come. This team is not just going to show up and allow us to walk all over them and win. Really what matters is how are we going to respond to that. And if you can adapt and use it as a learning opportunity, it's going to set you up to go accomplish darn near anything you want to.
I think there are a lot of people that need to hear that message today.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
John Mino and Jim Schmidt.
On Thursday's show, head men's basketball coach at St. Norbert College, Gary Gresh, joins us to talk about the upcoming season.
And Maria Turner and
Broadcasting live statewide from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who's had a paper route for 25 years but never collected, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back to Nightlight. Post-election We're all unwinding, becoming friends again. It all starts here tonight, folks, at Nightlight, where we talk about movies and TV and music and comedy and the things we love, the things that bring us together. Right, Conrad?
Yes, definitely.
Well said. Right now, I am talking to the very talented and very funny Mike Mercury. Mike, we were talking about, Mike is a Madison-based comedian, by the way, and check him out if you happen to be up in the Superior or Duluth area December 31st at Dublin's Irish, or if you're in the Marshfield area, it's New Year's Eve at the Marshfield Hotel. That's December 31st. I think they still do that.
December 21st is Duluth. December 31st is Marshfield. Yeah.
Is Marshfield.
Sure.
Perfect.
Hope to see you there.
So we were talking about shrinking. You're a fan.
Well, here's I don't know. I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, I watched the show. Yeah. Here's a super quick recap. Jason Segel, you know, he's kind of a sad sack guy anyway and everything. He plays a therapist who lost his wife, so he's depressed. His co-star, Harrison Ford, 82 in real life, he's on the show. He's a therapist. He has Parkinson's, so he's depressed. Jason Segel's daughter, struggling with the loss of her mom. She's 17, so she hates her dad, so she's depressed. But other than that, it's hilarious.
That's great. Does that sound accurate, Conrad?
Yes, yeah, it does.
There's a lady in it named Jessica Williams who plays Gabby. I was not familiar with her. She's very she's also a therapist. She's very charismatic and sexy. And if it weren't for her, I would be depressed after watching this show. So to me, I mean, I think she's a standout in this show. And the show's okay, but it's not everybody's cup of tea, I don't think.
It's on my list to check out. I just started watching Slow Horses. I don't know if you've watched that.
I did watch it. Yeah, Slow Horses is good. I like that a lot. I like that much more than Shrinking. So stay with that for now.
Okay. Have you ever seen a main character on a show who just farts all the time? Like Gary Oldman in Slow Horses. It's almost like I find that kind of humor a little distracting typically, but it totally works here. He's just kind of a slob.
He's not kind of a slob. I think he's totally a slob. The thing that concerns me with this, and this is how maybe where I'm not able to separate reality from the show. I think in real life, he's probably living that character because I think he's a method actor, I think, isn't he?
Yes.
And so I think he's good. I think he went, screw it. I'm just going to drink every day and smoke heavily and not take care of myself and not even think about exercise. And I think that's probably what he's living in his real life. So I'm worried about him. I'm genuinely worried. He's such a talented guy. And I'm like, I hope he's just acting. But rather than living it, because if he's living it, I'm not sure how much longer he'll be with us. That's the worry.
He's great. I think that type of acting is tougher when you do a TV series because there's like 3 or 4 seasons of it. So does that mean you have to stay fat and out of shape and not shave for 4 years? Like it's one thing to do it for a movie, and then you just put the weight back on or off or whatever. But that's problematic. I think if that's the case. So, all right. So, Mike, what can you tell us? Did you have a chance to glance at the article? I love the title. Does it have to do with kicking pumpkins? The article you wrote on your Substack.
Oh no, it was a weird. I don't know. Here,
we don't have to talk about it. We can move on if you'd rather do something else.
Yeah, I think the problem is I don't think I could talk about it without having to reading from it and forget it. Yeah, there's no point in reading from it at this point. Just go substack.mikemercury.com and read it. And please, it would be great if somebody. So if you're listening, sign up for the thing. I'll feel like I accomplished something tonight. If I get a subscriber or 2, that'd be awesome. And then on this Substack, by the way, they have you can do chats there. So go on there, read the article, nice. And then we'll do a chat about it sometime. That won't actually happen, but I thought I'd put that out there.
Well, it's possible. You could.
Yeah, it's possible.
You have one article where you talked about a clogged drain that was very funny. And you had cool graphics on it, Mike. How do you do that? Do you do that, or is that you have that done for you?
The Yeah, I did the graphics on that one, and you know what it is? That is the AI, Pete, at work. Have you experimented with AI for graphics at all?
I have not.
Yeah, so I figured it out. One of the tricks with publishing anything, if you're using images, you're supposed to pay people or use licensed images or have permissions and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I figured out. I started goofing around with the AI, and that it's some of the images that they create. I mean, they definitely, you can tell it's artificial, but some of the images are. It's unbelievable. And what you have to get good at is giving it the right prompts. So that's the part that takes a little while to figure out and some experimentation. Anyway, Facebook's Meta has an AI tool that I've been using that's super cool for this.
Oh, wow.
And there's a couple other places. So for people like me who want to part of the thing is you want to have some interest to keep some visual, some an image to draw some visual, keep interest in whatever. And so I didn't want to be just out picking up images off of Google that belong to other people or photographers without crediting them or whatever. And that's and even that, it's kind of weird because you start to think, oh man, am I putting people out of work? I mean, that's one of these things have been happening for years. I remember when synthesizers came out in music, people were like, oh man, you're going to, put the whole orchestra out of work. I mean, this is the same thing. But it's so powerful. So there's no turning this stuff off.
I feel like in your case, you're not, because for a Substack article, you're not going to go out and pay a graphic designer $300 to draw a picture, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not, what you're doing is not costing anybody any money. You're using the resources you have in front of you.
Right. And there's a few people who use Substack who have a subscriber base of 1 million or 1 million plus. Now, maybe those people can afford to pay an artist to do something every week. If I did that, I would be, I'd be losing my shorts on the deal. I would need a whole lot more subscribers than I already have.
The other thing is your articles are funny. I mean, that's why you're reading them too. The pictures are just a bonus. But my guest is Mike Mercury. He's a Madison-based stand-up comic and a writer of very funny articles. Mike, one of the articles you wrote I couldn't access is sharing. Well, I can now, but is sharing is caring.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that one?
Well, I think that was the one where I had a headache. My wife and I were supposed to go to England a couple weeks ago, and then I got a headache that just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I've never had headaches or migraines or whatever. And so the sharing is caring part, it came, the title was because I kind of overshared some of the details in the article about, I ended up in the emergency room, and, we were in the emergency room on a Friday night, and it was like, it was like a Halloween scene of extras in there. It was unbelievable.
This is for a headache?
Yeah, for a headache. Yeah, the headache was debilitating. I had a headache. It started on a Wednesday night, and by Friday morning, I literally could not function. And so I went to the doctor, the regular doctor, and they gave me a shot, and she said, this is 10 times stronger than ibuprofen. And 20 minutes later, it hadn't done anything. And so then they gave me like oxycodone, which of course, can turn a Methodist minister into a street junkie in about a minute and a half from what I hear. And I took that. It didn't do anything, literally nothing, didn't do anything for the pain. I didn't get a buzz off it. There was nothing pleasant about it. So I ended up going to the hospital. Anyway, at one point I'm in the hospital and I'm being wheeled in a wheelchair down the hall. And I see this guy out in the waiting room who has his hand in his pants. He's like this disheveled guy in his 50s or 60s. And a cop had to go over and tell him to stop because he was making other people uncomfortable. and I've never seen more uncomfortable people altogether in my whole life because everybody in there is sick and here's this guy. He's making lemonades out of lemon is what he was
just trying
doing.
to entertain people. I mean, come on.
He was having a great time in the ER on a Friday night. Anyway, that's what that
probably
one was
speed
about.
things along. You probably get in faster that way.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
yourself.
So that's what that story was
That's
about.
very funny. All right, before we let you get out of here, Mike, do you think you could take Michael Jackson in a fight?
Oh, geez.
Now you could, but when he was alive,
Yeah.
the
thing that causes me concern on that is you say what you want about the guy, but he was pretty athletic. I mean, to be able to dance like he did. So I don't know. I don't know. Pete, I heard you say something earlier at the top of the show about being able to take care of yourself. Weren't you like a hardcore karate guy, like a black belt or something?
I wasn't hardcore, but I took it for about 10 years and it was fine in my 20s. Now the problem is when you take karate, you can't do spinning back kicks past your 30s, and you should learn another art form. But and I don't think I could use any. I think I forgot it all anyway. But like Michael Jackson, supposedly he got the best of Tupac Shakur in a fight.
What?
And the guy that was telling the story, Tupac Shakur was dating Quincy Jones's niece, who was daughter, who was like a niece to Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
He heard Tupac call her a bad word, the B word, if you will, and they threw down, and Jackson supposedly got the best of him.
Really?
So simmer on that, Mike, until we talk again sometime. This has been really fun, dude. So much fun.
So that sort of blows my mind. Although I would just quickly, I've been to Gary, Indiana. So if you're coming out of Gary, Indiana, you might know how to fight. So
with 6 older brothers too.
Yeah, right.
You probably got wailed on quite a bit.
Well, thank you for having me, Pete, and Conrad and Conrad's mom. And until we meet again.
Always fun, buddy. Have a great night, Mike.
All right. See you guys.
All right. That's Mike Mercury. Check him out December 21st in Duluth at Dublin's Irish and at the Marshfield Hotel on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is a great time to see stand-up comedy, folks. If you haven't done it, it's really a nice way to laugh in the new year. And what better way to do that with Mike Mercury? All right. Coming up next, Civic Media's own sports director and kid movie aficionado Jimmy Kuska joins me. It's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
He's the greatest dancer. The champion of dance. His moves will put you in a trance, and he never leaves the disco alone.
Listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
Between all the holiday parties,
weekend tailgates,
and family get-togethers. Oh, they're here. Hey, who needs something to drink?
we've been overindulging a little more than usual. Thank goodness we both added active liver to our diets to give our livers some much-needed support so we have the energy we need to enjoy the holidays.
Active Liver from New Nordic contains a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract designed to give your liver maximum protection and help it do vital jobs like removing toxins from alcohol, rich foods, and sweets.
Try Active Liver today and enjoy all the holiday treats with the peace of mind of knowing you're giving your liver some relief.
Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in stores at CVS or Meijer or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy, and today's work money word is fiduciary. Well, fiduciary is a mega important term that you got to know when it comes to getting professional financial advice. In the world of money, you want someone committed to the fiduciary standard because those folks are legally obligated to act in your best interest only. I mean, every other broker or advisor or banker who has not specifically committed to the fiduciary standard and told you that that's what they're doing, those folks don't have that obligation. They could be selling you products or encouraging you to invest in things or put your money in places that end up helping their wallet even more than yours. So simply put, anytime that you are hiring a financial advisor, ask them if they uphold the fiduciary standard. For me and mine, fiduciary advisors are the only ones I'm trusting my money to. That was your Work Money Minute.
Welcome Our question tonight is an easy one that everybody should be able to answer. What is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? I kind of forgot about Raising Arizona, which back in the day was one of my favorite films. I completely forgot he was in it, and I forgot about it as a Coen Brothers film. So that was a great answer, too, that Mike and Craig have given. Okay, we are going to turn our attention now to a different topic. Well, a slightly different topic. We'll talk a few kids' movies, and we'll talk a little sports with the Civic Media. Always great to have this guy on. Civic Media Sports Director, Jimmy Kuska. Jimmy, welcome.
How's it going, Pete? Great to be with you.
It's great to be with you. And what better way to kick off a new era in America? We're coming together again. So this is how we're doing it on Nightlight. We're talking sports. We're talking movies. It's great to have you. I know you're exhausted. You did an amazing job last night with coverage, and like you do every day at Civic Media. How has it been filling in for Mike Clemens? Those are big shoes to fill. You've been crushing it, though. Do you like having those extra duties?
You know, I got to do that for him for a couple of months while he was out, and he finally was able to come back last month and resume those duties. But, you know, for me, it was kind of like riding a bike again because, you know, I had done sports updates for years, decades probably prior to that. So for me, it was kind of nice to kind of have that in my daily routine again. But it's kind of nice this week with sports, you know, because both the Packers and Badgers football are on a bye this week. So, you know, a lot of your energy now you focus on things like off-season Brewers or, you know, the struggles of the Bucks or micro analyzing like Badgers men's basketball in these meaningless non-conference games. Like this is where we're at this point in the sports calendar.
Yeah,
where
who do they play? Who do they play tomorrow? I heard that during the break. It's some school I barely have heard of. It was like it's almost like a bye week for the basketball team. It's like a NAIA Division IV or something.
Yeah, they play Montana State tomorrow.
Montana State. They should breeze through that, right? Jim, let's stick to sports first. How do you assess the Packers so far? We're almost at the halfway point. Jordan Love's entertaining some nagging injuries, which hopefully you hope they go away. But where do you rate them so far?
You know, I would say that the Packers have at least met expectations, if not slightly exceeded them. When you talk about trying to get a full season out of Jordan Love, well, injuries happen in the NFL in a 17-game schedule. And this bye week that the Packers have is coming at a perfect time to get healthy. They made one roster move. A player had asked for a trade, Preston Smith. So they get a draft pick back for him. The draft pick essentially replaces the one they lost in trading for Malik Willis before the year. Speaking of, what a brilliant trade that was in hindsight. Jeez. To bring in a quarterback with starting experience behind Jordan Love. And when Willis has been in, he's fielding extremely well for Love. So it's great to have, you know, two quarterbacks in your roster that you can trust. And then, of course, making the change at kicker, where for those first couple of games, you get game-winning kicks out of a guy you sign off the street. I mean, that's just awesome stuff, you know. So I would say that, you know, I think some Packers fans would prefer to be, you know, hey, we should be 8-0, 9-0, whatever, if you're a big Packers fan. But, you know, where they're at right now, given that they're in a very difficult division, they still have a shot at that. But I would say that they have at least met expectations, if not even slightly exceeded them so far.
Well, especially when you look at, because you're right, picking up Malik Willis was a great move. But in any other division, they're probably a lock for the playoffs, and maybe they'll still get there. But the NFC North, people are saying it's the toughest division in football. How do you think that affects their chances? I mean, they hung with the Lions. I mean, the Lions are just great. But how do you like their chances to make the playoffs, given the division they're in?
Well, there's 7 teams that make the playoffs now in the NFL, so you know, the bar to get in is lower. And I think at one point, before last week's games, if the season had ended that day, every team in the NFC North would have made the playoffs. So, you know, there's, as long as you're winning, it doesn't matter where you finish in a division. If you have more wins than the other teams down the list, you're going to be in. So Packers are still in a pretty good spot right now.
All right, so let's turn our attention to the Badgers. I'll be honest, I thought they would be a little farther. I know it's only year 2, but I had pretty high expectations. Just as a fan, I certainly don't know to the extent that you do, but if you're Fickle, where do you think his head is at right now? Do you think he thought they'd be further along in this transformation?
You know, I think we're looking here in the middle of year 2, and it takes time when you're trying to do a roster overhaul, when you're trying to bring in a brand new system, a brand new identity, just on its own. And we're doing this in a vacuum just in terms of just football, right? You're going from Wisconsin's bread and butter, pound and ground, play these linebackers that fly all over the field, transitioning to an air raid offense, more spread out, more passing, more spread run, more zone run. And, so you're going to have some roster transition in that. But on the other hand, you're also entering this era of college football where conference realignment happens every minute, and NIL has really taken over to the point where players are leaving teams in the middle of the season because of NIL deals. So that part of it has really changed what college sports is about, not just football. And I think that more than anything has affected things.
It's so crazy because I was watching the game with a friend last Saturday, and I know they want to do this air raid, but a couple weeks ago, the backup quarterback for Penn State came in and played like a champ. And I'm like, why can't the Badgers get that guy? It seems like it can never just solve the quarterback position.
Well, the quarterback position is where people always felt they were kind of that one step away. And now people feel like they've taken a further step back because now they have trouble blocking. They have trouble catching the ball. They have trouble running the football. They have trouble playing defense. So now people are kind of poking holes in this the last year and a half with the big recruiting changes, the emphasis on out-of-state players. NIL has really changed college football, right? So I think there's a lot for the Badgers beyond just finding a quarterback that they need to address. And, it's going to be harder now because your conference is massive, spans coast to coast, and we're in this era where NIL kind of has changed where things are going.
Jim, we'll switch gears after the news and talk kids movies. I love the way our text exchange earlier. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about these films. But real quick, we got about a minute. Well, how did your team do? You coach high school football. How did you guys finish the year?
Well, we haven't lost in 3 weeks, but we also haven't played in 3 weeks. So, we did not win a game this year, just like last year. But we're making those small steps towards eventually getting back in the win column. This year we gained about 50% more or 25% more yards than we did last year. We had a bunch of kids make all conference, even though we didn't win a game. There's progress. It's just you got to look for it a little bit, but there is progress, and that's all you can hope for as any kind of adult mentor in a role with kids.
Absolutely, building a program takes time. And all right, when we come back, I might ask Jim one more sports question, and we'll get into movies. Jimmy Kuska's here. Great way to spend a Wednesday night, folks. What else are you going to do? It's Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Tuesday's election was the first under Wisconsin's new political maps drawn by Governor Tony Evers. Many Democrats were hopeful that the new maps would mean more Democrats in the Wisconsin legislative body. That did not happen. As of early Wednesday morning, Republicans were winners in at least 53 of the 99 assembly districts in the state. The change was felt, however, in the Senate, where Democrats flipped or kept Senate Districts 8, 14, 18, 30, and 32, including Jamie Wall's defeat over Alloway Village President Jim Rafter in Senate District 30 and Kristen Alfheim's victory over Anthony Phillips in Senate District 18. Election day had barely started when there was already issues with voting machines in Milwaukee. Stuart J. Waddles reports.
They're still trying to figure out how seals on election computers in Milwaukee were not properly secured. Milwaukee Central Count Facility faced unexpected delays yesterday as officials had to recount 31,000 absentee ballots. Election officials say it was due to a sealing issue with 13 tabulation machines. The Milwaukee Elections Commission reported that some of the machine doors were not fully secured. That led to the decision to reset all of the tabulators involved.
A bipartisan group of 51 attorneys general throughout the country, including Wisconsin's Josh Kaul, has issued a statement condemning any potential violence linked to election results. The coalition emphasizes the importance of a peaceful transfer of power and calls on Americans to engage civilly in the democratic process. The attorneys general have pledged to enforce the law against any illegal acts that threaten democracy and public safety. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Barbenheimer 2.0 is just around the corner with films Gladiator 2 and Wicked kicking off the holiday box office season in a couple weeks. However, last weekend's box office did not impress. The movie Here, starring Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, and directed by Robert Zemeckis, landed with a thud on opening weekend. Here did not review particularly well, and audience approval is hovering at around 60%. The film whiffed big time with only a $5 million opening weekend, which landed it in 5th place overall. Repeating as box office champ following its opening weekend is Venom: The Last Dance. The third and final chapter of DC's Venom franchise took in $26 million domestically. Rounding out the top 5 are The Wild Robot in 2nd place, Smile 2 at number 3, and Conclave at number 4. Another disappointment at the box office was Liam Neeson's new action film Absolution, which finished in 12th place, barely cracking $1 million. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low in the mid-30s. A clearing sky with sunshine returning tomorrow and a little warmer, highs in the mid-50s. And climbing to the upper 50s with sun Friday. Rain chances return for the weekend, mostly cloudy and highs mid-50s. It's 46 right now.
Do you have a home you'd like to rent out but don't know where to start? Consider Simple Life Rentals, a property management company partnered with booking sites like Airbnb and Expedia, amplifying your home's exposure to the marketplace. Simple Life Rentals screens guests and creates an owner portal with analytics, rental agreements, and legal guidelines. We give you complete visibility into how your manager's doing, ensuring your property is well maintained and maximizing your return on investment. Get peace of mind. SimpleLifeRentals.com.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, a little weather and wine.
Folks, what is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? There is a Nicolas Cage Film Fest that's going to happen. All Nicolas Cage, the whole festival. So that is our question tonight. Do you have a favorite? Jim, do you have a favorite Nicolas Cage film?
I mean, he's been in like everything, right? How do you pick just one?
I know I had to do a top 3. I know.
You know, he's taken a number of turns as a superhero, but I actually kind of liked his character in the movie Kick-Ass. That was a pretty good turn, I think, for him. It was kind of unexpected in a movie that wasn't taking itself very seriously to have Nick Cage just kind of drop in and goof off basically for half the film. I thought that was pretty fun. He also does the voice in he plays the Black Noir Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. He voice acts for that. And those are really, really well done animated movies. And I believe they're even trying to spin that into like a live action role now. So there's a few turns in the superhero universe that I've really enjoyed him in.
Have you seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent?
No.
It's from 2022. Listen, if you pay the $4, Jim, and you hate it, I'll give you the $4. You're gonna love it. It's so fun. He makes fun of himself. Pedro Pascal's in it. It's a really funny movie. Highly recommend it. All right. So earlier you were telling me, I know you're up on all the kids movies. So I think we had a talk. Is it Moana 2 your kids are looking forward to?
Yeah, so let's just make sure we get that disclaimer in. It's not so much that I'm into the kids movies; it's that I have an 8 and a 6-year-old.
Right,
And
right.
we need to have some planning for them to do things. And this year has really been a struggle. It feels like we haven't had a good kids movie in quite a while. I think we had another Minions movie, like the 28th or 29th one we've had in the last few years.
Yeah.
We had Inside Out 2, which didn't really hold their attention. They haven't really had a kids movie that's really grabbed their attention in a while. So when you look at what's coming up, though, between now and 2026, kind of in the next 18 months, so there are a lot of sequels, several of them coming out. And I believe the next one coming out is right around Thanksgiving, and that's Moana 2. Which is a movie that held their interest when they were at least a little younger. So that's one that's coming out this year that I think when you look at what our family's going to do for entertainment when it's cold and windy outside, got to go to a movie, right? So kids movies in the winter are winners in my opinion when there's not a lot else to do. So
for sure. I would disagree though. I think this summer we saw, I think for a while it was kids movies that kind of saved the box office. And I do agree with you. Like I thought Inside Out 2 was phenomenal. I went with my daughter, but she's 19. So I agree it's a little above probably your kids your age, above their head, but it's the highest grossing animated film of all time. I thought it was so great, but
I personally thought it was a good movie. My kids were bored by it. So
yeah, and that's a bummer. Like you feel a little guilty enjoying a movie you took your kids to that they don't like as much. And the Despicable Me the fourth installation of the franchise did not review particularly well. It was okay. It was like in the 50s, I think. But that one crushed too. How did you feel about that one?
That I felt like it was completely, like a lot of things. It felt half baked mostly. It wasn't a super engaging storyline. It wasn't as fun as the first few. They had a prequel movie with the Minions that was sort of fun. This movie wasn't super fun. Like there were a lot of the gags were spread out pretty far. They got their laughs here and there, but it didn't really have the charm of the first few, at least in my opinion. But I'm a pretty tough reviewer because I got to sit through these 100 times. So,
did your kids like that movie, Despicable Me 4?
They like Minions, so they'll laugh at pretty much anything.
All right, that's good.
I've set the bar low for humor in this house. So,
how do your kids feel about like my favorite kids movies are Toy Story 1 and 2, in that order. I like the first one a little bit better because it was the first one. How does that? I assume you showed those to your kids, but how do those older Pixar films resonate with kids of today?
What's interesting is that Toy Story 1 is a classic. The story is solid. When it came out,
so great,
blew people's minds on how well animated and everything. But it doesn't have that quick pacing that a lot of the current kids movies have. The movies that they're watching constantly have. So it's again that point where those limited attention spans kind of turn away from it. So they don't necessarily get into those as much. A lot of the movies that they get into are the ones that have something happening every 5 seconds, right? And that's where a lot of you lose a lot of the stories and the plots in movies now, especially with kids shows. Is that there's got to be an explosion, or there's got to be flashing lights, or there's got to be something loud happening on the screen, right? Something flashy and loud happening, and that's. And it's great. Kids, enjoy it. There's always some action. There's always some humor tucked away in that. But you do kind of lose the storytelling part of movies that you don't get necessarily with some of the newer ones. Sometimes they go too far one way and they beat you over the head with it, or other times they make it so subtle that even the adults can't pick up on it. So it's a rare movie that can kind of do both. I think Toy Story is a series that's managed to do all of that pretty well, right? All the way through 3, I think did a really good job with that. So.
What about Cars? Have your kids seen Cars?
Yep, they watched Cars when they were younger. They've both outgrown it, and they're not that old, so they've outgrown that. But again, it's Cars. They have Matchbox cars, they're Hot Wheels cars, whatever you want to call them. So that always appeals to them.
What about The Incredibles?
So The Incredibles is, I think, another one of those shows that's more geared towards older children / adults, more of a superhero kind of thing. Not a movie they would ask for, but they've watched it for sure.
That makes total sense, actually. You're right. It is a movie. I'm going to ask you about another one. My last kids film I want to throw at you. My guest, by the way, is Jimmy Kuska. He is the sports director here at Civic Media. Does a great job and in charge of all the digital stuff, too, still, right, Jim?
Yeah, I help on the digital content team. I've written over 100 articles the last 2 days. So,
oh God, all available on the Civic Media website. Jim does great work. Check it out. Jim, Napoleon Dynamite. So we've been talking. I had John Grise on the show the other night who played Uncle Rico, iconic character, so great. And they're doing a live event in Madison where John Hyder will be there and Ephraim Ramirez, who played Pedro, John Grise, who played Uncle Rico. So my kids loved that movie. My daughter, when she was 4, watched that probably 20 times. It's so, the aesthetic of it, it's so interesting to look at because they're just so quirky. Have your kids seen that?
My kids have not, and partly is because my wife doesn't like the movie, so she hasn't gone out of the way to do it. I, on the other hand, think that movie is phenomenal. It is, for me, it hit at the right time in my life. It, really reflects what kind of growing up in the, kind of the middle of nowhere, the small battles we face every day kind of thing. The personalities, a little bit exaggerated, but again, very relatable because people in your life. Everybody knows an Uncle Rico. I think especially in the sports realm, everybody knows Uncle Rico. Like, sometimes I tell the kids I'm coaching that, hey, back in my day, I could do this and something in practice. They don't believe me, but maybe I could 25 years ago.
I could throw a football a quarter mile. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe. But I personally found it. I thought it was a great movie. It's really cool that you had him on. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was a great guest, and our show was so packed that night. I only had him for one segment, but he's like, I'll come back anytime, so we're definitely going to have him back. And if I lived in Madison, I would be there Saturday night. It sounds like a really fun night, but I love the scene where they're feeding the leftover lasagna to the llama, and it's so odd and fun. I don't know. You'll have to show it to your kids when your wife goes out for the afternoon or as a girls' night or something.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jim, so before we let you go, I said I had one more sports question for you. I actually kind of have two. How do you think Aaron Rodgers is doing so far? Have you been following him a little bit as a Jet this year?
Yeah, I think it's hard in Wisconsin to avoid what he's doing, and I think a lot of the attention to him is going to be generally pretty negative because, A, he's not a Packer anymore. It's kind of like what we saw with Favre when he left Packers. A lot of negativity after it. After he retires, maybe it comes back up. But I think the thing that also hurts him is this public perception of, of all the things he does away from the field, and that kind of hurts too with that. In terms of on the field performance, it's the Jets. I mean, what do you expect? It's the Jets. And I'm saying this, by the way, here's my big asterisk disclaimer, Pete, is that I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. So no love for the Jets here.
Okay, there you go. Thank you for your honesty. Yeah, it's weird. When he has a good game, you go, oh, he's still Aaron Rodgers. But then when he has bad games, you're like, well, is it the Jets or is it that he's 40? It's hard to kind of figure that out. But all right, last question, Jim, before we let you go. What is the next big sporting event in Wisconsin you are looking forward to? Or nationally? You can answer both.
I think in Wisconsin, I think people are generally just kind of tuned to what the Packers do this season in the postseason. I think that's kind of the colloquial answer. For me, personally, because I'm more of a high school, small college sports guy, and I broadcast UW-Platteville sports, I get to broadcast the Culver's Isthmus Bowl, which is a Division III bowl game, 2 weeks from Saturday in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. So I personally look forward to that as a postseason event. Craig Culver is there. We get to talk about Butterburgers for a broadcast. It's great, man. Just have fun. It's one of my most relaxed, awesome gigs that I get to do. There's hardware at the end. But then, we've got playoffs coming up in college football and other sports. And obviously I think in Wisconsin, the next truly big sporting event that a lot of people will be going to, like in this month, is going to be the state high school football championships, which are the week before Thanksgiving. Those tend to draw, close to 20,000 people to the event. And that's always a tradition for coaches, for families, for it's a pilgrimage that you take when you're involved in high school sports. And I think for my money, I mean, you're getting such a tremendous entertainment value out of going to it that if the weather's good, you can really make a great day out of it. The weather's bad, it's a little tougher to kind of enjoy it and sit there if it's 30 degrees and sleeting, but I've done that. But when the weather is cooperating, it's one of the best experiences in any sporting event in Wisconsin. So
that's a great answer. Does Craig Culver bring like a platter of Curter burgers for everybody?
I ask him every year about the Critter Burger, and every year
what does he say?
He loves it. He loves that people talk about it because it came out of an April Fool's Day post.
I know, I love that.
It's just turned into something fun. A lot of what I talk to them about at Culver's is just about all the charity work they do in Wisconsin. A lot of it, that you hear about it with sports teams and stuff, but they do stuff with farmers. They do stuff with, just any family who needs it. If the franchisee says, hey, we're going to help this cause. They're like, yeah, go ahead. You're the franchisee. Do what you want. And they raise a lot of money for charity. And I think that's really a really cool thing that we have with a Wisconsin-based company like them.
Hearing that makes me want to wolf down a couple Curter burgers.
Oh yeah, same here.
Arteries be damned. Jim, thanks so much for your time tonight. I know you're exhausted. You've been working your butt off lately, and as usual, doing a great job. Thanks so much for being with me tonight.
Hey, I appreciate it, Pete. It's always fun to be on this show.
All right, thanks, buddy. Likewise. That's Jimmy Kuska. Check out all of his work. He writes great articles on the Civic Media website, and he did a phenomenal job filling in for Mike.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
definitely.
Mike was back full time. I thought he was still kind of easing back into it, but it sounded like Mike is back full time. So Jimmy gets to go back and do his regular stuff, right?
Regular scheduled program.
Regularly scheduled program. So do we have time for a clip? I think we do.
We can do the Boyhood clip.
Let's do the Boyhood clip.
Or we can jump to Emma Stone as well, whichever one.
Let's do Emma Stone, because I saw Easy A years ago,
Yes,
and you
yeah.
found this clip today. So set this up.
Well, this is one of my favorite. I've watched this movie so many times. And she gets a birthday gift, and it's from her grandma. She opens the card, and it plays a song that she doesn't like at first.
Here's how I really spent the weekend.
Ugh. Worst song ever.
Oh, whoa. Do what you want, but you're never gonna break me. Same stones are never gonna shake me, yo. Oh, wow. I got a pocket, got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a love and I know that it's all mine, no. Oh, wow. Take me away, a secret place, a sweet escape, holiday. I got a
She used it so many times that it broke.
You know what that reminds me of? Is the scene in Tommy Boy when they're driving. They're like, "Oh, talk about lame." It's
Yes.
the Carpenter
Yes.
song, and then
Yeah.
the next shot is both of them just singing at the top of their lungs. Emma Stone is hilarious. I want to close the show when we come back with a clip from our buddy Mike Rowe, who was on the show Monday as well, our packed show that we didn't even have enough time for people. But this is a funny clip Mike posted on Facebook today, and we'll play that next to, he plays a traveling touring heckler. So we'll play that next to close down the show. This has been Night Light with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We got some places to see. Add that on the maps with me. So jump in, it ain't no sin. Take a ride in my machine. See the traffic's moving way too slow. Drop the pedal and go. Go.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW. The Maggie Dawn Show.
It is absolutely disgusting for conservatives to suggest that because someone is poor or struggling, that they lack judgment. If anybody needs morality policing, it's rich folks, for crying out loud, not people who are struggling to put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The Todd Alba Show.
Managing editor of eBombs World, Mr. Peter Rapine.
Google this week released a new product, the new AI overview. If you Google search, can I use gasoline to cook spaghetti? Google it says, no, you can't use it to cook spaghetti, but you can use gasoline to make spicy spaghetti dishes.
Not recommended. Do not do that.
The Todd Alba Show, weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
You are never far away from your favorite radio station. We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. And if you missed your favorite show or game, listen to a podcast of it anytime on the app or our website, civicmedia.us.
That first time seeing my son, I feel like my life did a 180. He really a definition of like why he loves somebody.
Through all the fatherhoods for
I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry Hill.
Winding down music. Got a text from my buddy Dave, who also says his favorite Nicolas Cage movie is Raising Arizona. I am going to have to rewatch that. It's probably been 20 years since I watched Raising Arizona, and he is so great in it, as is Holly Hunter, John Goodman. Just a great cast and very quirky. They basically steal a baby. There's this, I think he's a car dealer, like this multimillionaire car dealer in this small town in Arizona, and they have 6 babies. And Nicolas Cage, his wife, Holly Hunter, or maybe she's his girlfriend, can't have children. So they steal one of this rich guy's babies. And things go from bad to worse. Very funny movie. And great answers, everybody, on our question tonight, which was, what is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? You got a couple minutes to get a text in if you still want to play along. In the meantime, so on Monday, we had Mike Rowe was on the show. He's a writer for Futurama and The Martin Short Show and Family Guy. He's had a really good run as a writer. He was a stand-up comedian before that. He's also written a lot of the Comedy Central roasts. But Mike posted something on Facebook today that I thought was really funny, and it's him heckling. I think the other comic is Wayne Cotter at the Laugh Factory in L.A. Mike is the guy heckling him, and then, as it turns out, Mike is a touring heckler who gives his dates. It's kind of a funny clip. Go ahead, Con.
Our next comic can be seen on HBO's Def Comedy Jam.
Hey, nice suit. What time's the funeral?
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Guys, you were waiting all night to get that out, weren't you? Okay.
Hey, Link from Mod Squad called. Wants the hair back.
What's your name?
My name's Ronnie.
Ronnie, very nice to meet you. Have you ever thought about decaf?
No, I need something to keep me awake.
What do you do for a living?
I do this professionally.
You do what professionally? Heckle?
Professional heckler. Yeah, I've been doing it for 10 years on the circuit.
Really?
Yeah, if you don't mind, can I plug a few dates?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Hi, I'll be at the Comedy Beanery in Chicago heckling Dennis Wolfberg, June 20th through 24th. From there, I'll be at Shut Up and Laughs in Columbus, Ohio for the 4th of July weekend, where I'll be heckling Louis Anderson. And then at the end of July, I'll be in Connecticut, where I'll be heckling the Smothers Brothers at the Ed Ames Dinner Theater.
That's great. And I do want to play that Uncle Rico interview. You know what was really cool? When John Grise was on the show Monday night, he did that tag for us. You're watching Night Light with Peach Bubba. And you never know how an actor has embraced a role. Like if he is really cool about still having played Uncle Rico, or if he's tired about it, or if he's exhausted from it and doesn't want to talk about it anymore. But when he did the tag, he said, "Hi, this is John Grise, Uncle Rico from Napoleon. You're listening to Peach Schwaba." That was really cool, and that's when I knew he was a really fun guy. So we'll have to replay that, Conrad, at some point.
Yeah.
It was a fun interview.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Bridget, on the text line, our question tonight was, what is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? In honor of a Nicolas Cage film festival just for Nicolas Cage movies. And he's done that many. He's got like 150 movie credits. 75. I would say probably 40 of his movies are probably good. That's not a bad batting average out of 150.
That's a pretty good
percentage. Yeah. And then he did 110, paychecks. So, but that's, if you screen those 40 films, you got a great film festival. So Bridget from the 818 checks in and says, best Nicolas Cage movie is Valley Girl. That I mentioned that one too before, Bridget. That's a great option, great text. And then Dave, my buddy Dave, also texts on my personal phone and also says, unbearable weight of massive talent.
Yes.
Folks, if you take one thing away from this show, we haven't really done a very good job. No, I'm kidding. If you take one thing away from the show, watch the unbearable weight of massive talent. He is so funny in it. Pedro Pascal is hilarious. Is Pedro Pascal like an arms dealer or a drug dealer? I think he's an arms dealer, right?
It's complicated because he's not really the guy behind it. It's his brother.
Right.
And he doesn't really know.
But no spoil. I don't think we know that right away.
Well, but so I would say it's a great movie though.
Yeah.
The funny thing is how in love Nick Cage is with the cabinet of Dr. How do you say Caligari, right?
Yeah. Wait. With his own statue?
No, he keeps wanting his daughter to watch the movie, the Dr. Caligari.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's how you say it. He's so in love with that movie because every time he gets asked, what's your favorite movie? He goes, number one.
It's a great movie, though. Pedro Pascal pays him to come over to where the island he lives on and just be Nicolas Cage for like a weekend. That's his birthday present. And so Nicolas Cage indulges him, and then Pedro Pascal, there's that awkward moment where he's like, hey, I got a script. Would you mind reading it?
Yeah.
And it just gets really awkward, but it's really funny. All right, I'd like to thank my guest tonight, Mike Mercury, Madison-based stand-up comic. Check him out in Duluth on December 21st at Dublin's Irish, or in Marshfield at the Marshfield Hotel on New Year's Eve. And Jimmy Kuska, as always, is so much fun to talk sports and movies with. Thank you for all your texts and answering our question. Great fun tonight on Nightlight. Conrad, did you have fun?
I had a blast.
We're back at it, man.
We
back
are
in
back.
full. I think this is good to get this show underway after the election. We're moving forward, and we're using movies and TV and comedy and music to do it. Bringing the country together again. Let's do it, people. Have a great night. On behalf of the lovable Conrad, good night, Wisconsin.
From a teardrop fall